All
right.
They can hear us now.
Oh no.
We should be really live. Yeah, I did. I hit the live button on YouTube Studio. Okay.
There's a video playing on YouTube. So
all right. Well, I'm gonna.
Seems like
you know
a
what?
good sign.
You know what? Let's just should let people see us, Mike. I'm gonna let people see us.
Oh no.
Hi. How's it going, everybody?
Hello. It's us. Oh, you got the man bun today.
I dropped it out. I'm dropping it.
Okay, good.
Yeah, I just pulled out the hair tie. All right.
Gotta give the people what they want.
Gotta give them what they want. I've learned that.
Which is apparently not
Hair.
a man bun.
Yeah, apparently not a man bun. No one likes a man bun.
Right? You've been really setting this show up as you bring in some bad news.
Yeah,
I don't know what it is.
I wanted. Yeah, we haven't had a chance to talk really about it. I would have briefed you, and I'll give you some other stuff afterward. But for now, we're going to. I just wanted to get this stuff out of the way because it's going to be most of it's actually just kind of corrections to predictions I made in the past, and now I'll have a chance to kind of speak to those. So we'll get this out of the way, and it's not like the end of the world or anything, but we'll talk about it. Okay.
Teasing. We got a couple minutes. We're starting.
Yes.
But, you want to hear? I've been practicing the Kung Fu Panda song.
I very much do want to hear this. Yeah. I don't know if I know this, but
it's one when the turtle turns into blossoms, right? See? Huh?
I like it. Oh man, you got a new nickname in the chat, Ligminati.
Man, I think I prefer Bald Jeff. Everyone ready for a very pleasant. Here's some ASMR.
There you go.
That's the good stuff.
All right, I feel like I'm forgetting something. We're good. Oh, I should test the music. Oh, you know what? I know what I'm forgetting. I just want to remember to turn on NVIDIA broadcast after the music. So here's the music. Everyone should hear it.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's there. I just gotta remember to hit record. That's important. Okay.
Guys, everyone in chat's got names for me. They're gonna miss me when I'm not here next week.
Oh, I was gonna make a joke about that. I was gonna pretend we got in a fight or something and say I don't want you here next week.
I ruined that.
No, it could just be for YouTube. People on
just
podcast.
For them.
Yeah, just for them. You're all in on it. Okay. Let's see.
All
here.
181 of you, they know.
You know what?
We can't say you can't say anything about a Call of Duty without getting all over the internet. How are they going to keep that secret?
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, there's going to be news stories about Mike Minotti and Jeff Grubb.
About Bald Jeff.
Yeah, Bald Jeff. Yeah. All right.
Oh, great. Apparently there's a new nickname. I think this is going to be a thing. People are just going to try to one-up the nicknames now. That's what which I don't mind. I'll tell you, I mean, look, I'm not actually mad about Bald Jeff. I respect it. That was pretty good. I mean, clearly, I've been throwing that one out everywhere. I've already tried to give Jeff interventions on his social media discourse. He's much better than he used to be. Just fine now.
Yep. It used to be real bad.
he's in a good enough spot now. He's all right. Now he's just goofy and trolls weirdos. I'm fine with all that.
Yeah, exactly. All right. The ability to write an article about a game is nothing compared to the power of the Force is one of the captions I just saw on Twitter for your
I got
very good
keep
picture.
Up with that. Yes. Like I'm wearing my Jedi Fallen Order shirt there.
Yes, I do. All right, so I got this. Okay, I got the rundown here. Let's bring that up. I just got to hit record, and then I go back over to YouTube, play the music, and then I turn on video broadcast. Mike, I'm good to go. How about you?
Yes, those are the things we need to do.
All right. All right, chat. Here we go. 5, 4. It's the internet. You're busy. Let's do this. Welcome to the GamesBeat Decides podcast. This is the podcast that decides everything about the world of video games so you don't have to think for yourself. I'm your host, Jeff Grubb, and with me is
Mike Minotti, aka Bald Jeff.
In today's episode, we're gonna go over this Bald Jeff nickname. There's a bunch of nicknames happening in chat. We're gonna find a better one for Mike. There's got to be a better one out there.
I don't know.
I mean, this one is really sticking, definitely. And I
It's sticking. I'm kind of pushing it myself, so maybe that's why. Maybe it's my own fault.
Hey, I don't hate it. In today's episode, news and games. I think a lot of people are tuning into the chat already on YouTube because I have been saying there will be some bad news about E3. I don't want to keep anyone waiting. We'll get that stuff out of the way right after the credits. But first, I just want to check in with Mike. Mike, how are you doing?
Oh, I'm good. Yeah, I feel pretty good. The sun's coming out. I've been playing video games. Been playing some Phoenix Wright, some Final Fantasy 14. I'm doing a lot of make Mike happy things, so I'm good.
This isn't doing it for me. I need you to bring more energy. You got to be better than this, Mike. You got to be better than this.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, I feel fantastic. You want negative energy. I know what you want. I'm mad because the world sucks and fanboys and
you're phoning it in. No, Mike, listen, we're going to see this podcast through, but next week, I want you to take it off. I don't want you to be here. I want you out of here.
Nothing I do is good enough for you, Jeff. Maybe I'm just not going to show up
I think
next
you
week.
need to just think about what you've done. Don't come back next week is what I'm saying. All right.
We'll see how you do without me. We'll see how you'll be begging for Bald Jeff.
Oh yeah, we'll see about that. All right, everybody.
I can't wait till they make Ball and Wonderworld 2 and I make you review it and write an in-depth 100% guide for it.
We have messed up somewhere as a species if Ball and Wonderworld 2 comes out. So yeah, I will take that punishment. I understand at that point because something's gone wrong.
Where's my goddamn Ball and Wonderworld ebook review, Jeff?
I said if I have to be gifted one. If someone gifts it to me, I will read it and write a review. But I'm not.
How much is that? How much could that possibly cost?
It's like $4 or something like that.
$4.
Yeah.
That seems about right.
All right, everybody. If you're watching live, go ahead and hit that like button. Get people help people watch. Let's do the credits real quick, and then we'll get into this. You get more from Mike and me at GamesBeat.com. If you have something to share with us, you can get us on Twitter at GamesBeat. Me and Mike will share our handles at the end if you want to get us directly on Twitter. Thank you to Carlos Zain, who's Insane in the Rain Music on YouTube for the use of our theme song. If you are listening to this on the website player widget or you're watching on YouTube, you could subscribe to the audio version of the show, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, and more. If you like the show, rate us, especially on Apple Podcasts. I would love to see us move up. I'm started watching that Chartable again. I want to see us get back in the top 50. That would be fantastic.
Yeah, that's fun stuff.
I think we've peaked in the 30s, which I think is kind of something I never thought we would do in the United States. So I'm like, all right, that's pretty good. So I think we can get up higher, and I would love to make that happen. Join the Discord. The link is in the description. You could also support me and kind of get into secret things inside of the Discord by going to patreon.com/JeffGrubb. That money, kind of fun stuff that I do on the side, videos and things like that. All right. Yeah, that does it for the credits. So yeah, you know what? To kind of bring this in, I got some questions that I think are going to be, and these come from the podcast producers who are Patreon members, and I think this would be a good way to kind of start the stuff off, and then we'll get into the news after that. So, yeah, I guess I've been saying there's bad news. Mike, what do you think it's going to be?
Well, gosh, it must be something you've been talking about a lot that's not actually happened. So maybe something about Starfield. Are we not getting Starfield after all? Is that what it is?
So, let's see here. Let's I will say that Starfield is probably going to be at E3 still. I am less certain about it launching this year. And
okay.
I've said in the past that it's trending toward launching this year, and I think that's probably not right. I think part of me was just always thinking, hey, it probably will be at E3 this year. And then in the past, Bethesda Game Studios has loved those really short run-ups from E3 to releasing a game in the fall. And to me, it was always like, oh, it just made sense. But I never had inside information about them launching it this year. And I feel like based on not necessarily anything that I've heard, maybe a few things, but mostly I'm just I think it's going to be E3. I think it's a 2022 game. And that's kind of where I'm at with that. And maybe, as we get closer, if people keep asking, if they're still unsure, if people want a reassurance, maybe I'll look into it more and we'll talk about it more.
All right,
Um,
is this the only bad news that you've got for me?
no. So this question comes from a podcast producer who gave themselves the name Smelden Ring.
Good.
Jeff, any news about Elden Ring at E3? And if you were in the Discord, you would saw that I was talking about this a little bit. Kind of want to give people there a little bit of a heads up, but I am really doubtful that it's going to be at E3.
Really?
Yes.
That is shocking to me.
Yeah, me too. And so let's talk this through. So I think I've been saying that it was almost certainly going to be at E3, and I think there's lots of reasons to believe that. I think the intent was always to have it at this E3. I think that from Bandai Namco and Xbox, which I still think is the marketing partner, all wanted it at E3. But I think Bandai Namco and is like kind of going back to From and saying, hey, can we make this happen? And I think From is just like, we are just working too hard on actually trying to make the game to stop and do something for E3. I think that's where they're at right now. And I feel okay. So I am pretty sure it's not going to be at like the Xbox event. And if it's not there, I kind of don't think it'll be at E3 at all. And so that's where I'm going to like say, if people ask me this going forward, that's going to be my answer. I don't think so. But there is still the small possibility that something will happen. I know people still, Bandai Namco still want to make it happen. Bandai Namco does have their own event. I think last week we were saying, why would Bandai Namco show up to E3 and not have this? And I think the hope was always that they would have it. And they have other games they'll talk about, but it sounds like this one just won't be it.
It just seems like it's going to be rough for them to try to do an E3 show without it, because like that's like you almost can't. That shadow is just going to be cast over that whole thing, and everyone in like the chat and everyone on Twitter, like that's all people are going to talk about. People are just going to talk about Elden Ring not being there, as opposed to whatever else they show. People aren't going to talk about Tales of Arise or all the other stuff that's probably going to look very good, because there's people have been so desperate for this. There was already a leak. Gosh, they had to throw out some kind of a bone, man. I mean, I know it's hard to make something for E3, and I'm not, I'm saying they need to make some big vertical slice or some big gameplay demo like we've seen before, but man, there's got to be something. You've got to give people something on this one.
Yeah, and so to people are going to be like, what is happening here? Is the game in rough shape? Like, it's not canceled. Like, so it's still going to come someday. It just sounds like COVID hit this studio very hard. I know people are sick of the COVID excuse, but people, it's not an excuse. It is just the reality of, especially a Japanese studio that was very used to making games in a certain way and not having a lot of the support structures in place for having to make games in a different way. Other regions did adapt a little bit faster because they were already using like cloud protocols to make sure that they could access files when they were traveling or something like that. Japan is not in that country. It's very common for most of those companies to not even integrate the cloud in any way. This is just kind of how it's been. They stopped sort of changing up the way that they work in the late 90s, early 2000s, and they've just kind of kept working the same way ever since. And so they just weren't prepared. And I think my guess is that they also are the kind of team that really likes gathering around the desk and all answering questions really quickly. And when they have to do that online over meetings, it didn't work very well. And now people are also going to say, well, COVID's getting better. Look at Japan. Look at the numbers. It is the worst it's ever been in Japan. Like it's on its way to surpassing the worst it's ever been. So they're going through another peak right now. And so
their vaccination numbers are really low over there too, right?
Yeah, exactly. So it's like, yeah, and that's that's not uncommon throughout the world right now. Is like, there's a few countries that have a lot of vaccinations. Somehow the United States got our shit together for this somehow, but other countries are just not in that same situation. And it's hitting them really hard right now. So there's another COVID spike, and I think all these factors are just coming together. And then the games also, I think they're just having difficulty that was stemming over from last year. Now, I do think that some of the stuff we've heard before, like we saw that leaked trailer, right? And so you see the leaked trailer and you're like, well, the games, this is why I think Jason Schreier said the game has pages, because he knew that leaked trailer was out there. And so that gives you kind of confidence, right, that it's coming. And I think the game was supposed to come out last year. I think it was, not even, I think it was supposed to come out in like it was supposed to come out in 2020. And that was the plan in 2019. It's 2021 right now. And it was like it was on its way, and then COVID came and just blew up the whole thing. And then they've been sort of struggling ever since. I think the development has problems anyhow, and then they were trying to work around this whole work from home situation. I think it caused more problems. Now, when do we see it? I don't know. And when it shows up, like what stage will it be on? I don't know. I just think we probably won't see it on the Xbox stage at E3. It's kind of what I'm hearing from the Bandai Namco side a little bit, and then whether or not if it suddenly does, like if a miracle happens, excuse me, and it is ready, does it show up on Bandai Namco's thing? Maybe that I don't know for sure. But I will be saying that I don't think it's going to be at E3, and then if I'm wrong, I will be so grateful that I'm wrong, and I'll be so happy that people got surprised, and I'll be so that would be so nice. I just right now I really don't see it happening.
On a brighter side, I'm loving watching you struggle with your new microphone and how much you move your hands, and you're tapping something every now and then.
Yeah, I just hit my keyboard. Yeah, totally. It's like this one is
bringing me great joy.
Yeah, I speak into this one instead of speaking past it, which is a bit weird. That is different. So yeah, I got a new mic, and I'm trying to get used to it. All right. I let's see. I think the only other thing is I think I said in the past that I think Hellblade 2 will be at the Xbox showcase in some way, and I don't know if it will or won't at this point, but I think the information I was basing that on has now been debunked, and so I just wanted to clarify this to go back to say I don't know, and then as we get closer, I'll see what I can find out.
But timing wise, you seem like you would think it would be there, but yeah. So based on your source, you don't have any actual information. We're back to just how we feel.
That's right, exactly. But okay. So I think that kind of is the bad news, really. That's all of it. I think.
Well, a lot of this doesn't impact games I care about, so I feel fine still.
You know what, Mike? That's all that matters to me.
There you go. Make me happy.
Yeah, that's all we care about here. Okay. All right. So I'm glad we got that out of the way. I'm glad everyone could. If you have any questions, if you want to ask, feel free to send in a super chat, or if you're a podcast producer, get in there, add it to the list. I'll see if we can get to it before the end of the show. But Mike, should we get into the news?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. So news. I'm gonna start with some PlayStation stories. This past week, as Jim Ryan and PlayStation are wont to do, they spoke to Wired magazine and did an interview and talked about the state of the company a little bit again. And there were some small tidbits. And the first one I have here is that PlayStation 5 shortages are expected to last into 2022. Does this surprise you at all?
No. Demand is still crazy. I've actually tasted it a little bit myself because my one friend doesn't have a PlayStation 5. So like I'm trying to also get one so I can sell it back to him. And yeah, it's very, very hard. It's much harder than it was trying to just pre-order one before they came out even. The demand is crazy. We know that there's still chip shortages, so why is that going to change anytime soon? Especially now, like the PlayStation 5 is only going to get more desirable once Ratchet is out, and that's a true exclusive. And a lot of people are going to want to play that, and we're going to learn about more of these games at E3. So yeah, and then holidays are going to pop up here pretty soon. That's going to be a nightmare. So yeah, I'm not surprised at all.
Yeah, and I think the surprising thing to me, really, from a few weeks back, was when when Sony announced their earnings, and the PlayStation 5 is like slightly outpacing the PlayStation 4 in terms of like shipped units. It's like 7.8 million versus 7.6 million. So it's not like there's actually some historic weird shortage. It really is more about demand and maybe a little bit about a more worldwide launch. They're going to more regions, so they're spreading about the same number of systems over more territories. So of course that's going to make it feel like a harder pinch a little bit. But yeah, to me, it just sounds like this is about as many consoles as the Earth can produce at the beginning of a generation, and we're just going to be stuck at at the limits of physics here for a while, and have to deal with the demand. And I think you're right that the demand is actually the thing that is way outpacing anything else here. And the semiconductor shortage is still going to be a thing, and that really what that means for consoles is that there's just no relief from that side of things, because TSMC is going to have to deal with other issues. And really, it's kind of a tough spot for TSMC because these console parts actually make a lot more money. The profit margins are way larger than the chip shortages that they're really dealing with, which is like the weak little chips that go inside automobiles and things like that. Those things don't make a lot of money for TSMC. but the world needs them, and like governments are kind of saying, hey, we need to get this going. So TSMC is going to deal with that first. And while they're dealing with that problem, they cannot be spinning up new fabrication facilities for these Ryzen parts that are going inside the consoles. So yeah. Other tidbits from this interview with Wired is that the PlayStation has 25 first-party games in the works for PS5. What do you think about this one?
Yeah, I mean, sounds right, right? I mean, I
Yep.
guess it's a little surprising just because, like, we know Japan Studios isn't a thing anymore. So, and we know it's more expensive and takes longer to make games. So I guess that almost sounds pretty high.
Right.
But in development at all the various stages, right? Then sure.
Yeah, and I think a couple things to note about this is that first party games includes games made by external studios that Sony is publishing itself. So similar to Returnal, which was an external studio, but Sony's publishing it. That counts as a first party game here.
Mhm.
So, and I think they said as much that they're going to do a lot more of those. And then also Herman Holst, who is the head of PlayStation Worldwide Studios, said that these games are going to run the gamut from big to small and stuff like that. So, don't necessarily expect 25 Ratchet and Clanks, but there's going to be a few more Destruction All Stars mixed in there as well, I think. So, kind of have that in mind as well. But still, I think this is very indicative of the level of investment that PlayStation is making in making games for its console, and that's impressive. And then the new PS5 controller colors came out. You gonna get one of these, the red and the black?
No,
Good
no.
man. No, I'm glad to hear
White
that.
was always the best. The white looks so good still. Everyone is wrong.
I mean, Mike,
Everyone but me is stupid.
It might be the case that you're the only one with good taste. I think it's very possible.
Well, that is absolutely likely. No one else has the Rocketeer statue in the background.
Except for the director or the writer of Rocketeer, right? Didn't he have that as well? Or maybe
yeah,
not?
he has the same exact one when I interviewed him for 90s Disney.
That was incredible. That was a very good moment.
Yeah. So me and the former executive of THQ have good taste,
yes.
Surprisingly,
yeah. That kind of does it for the PlayStation 5 news. Any other thoughts on that? I guess the thing that people always wonder when they get the new controller colors is, are we going to get replaceable faceplates for the PlayStation 5? And I know you don't care, but
no.
But do you think that they'll do that?
It's like, why not, right? But I mean, we haven't seen anything like that in so long. Like, what, the Xbox 360 was really the last console that did anything like that, right? So I don't know, because they have no proof that there is a market for it. So why are they going to try?
Yeah. Let's see. Someone's saying the audio is really low. Let me check this real quick. I mean, it looks about where it should be. So we'll see what we can do about that.
If anyone else,
if anyone else,
here,
let us know.
Let us know.
How much?
Fine.
How much did you look at the controllers, Mike? Did you get a good look at them, or were you just like, that's not the white? I don't even care.
Yeah, I basically glanced at it and I was like, eh, and then went on with my day.
I was going to ask because I wanted, if you had to choose one, the red or the black, which one would you choose? I see a lot of people prefer the black, but I like the red. I think it looks maybe ugly in a cool way. It's kind of how I feel.
I prefer the black to the red. I don't know. Red's never been. I've never associated red as like a hardware color. I never gotten things in the red. Like there was no red color for GameCube, I guess. So that defined all of my aesthetics for consoles.
All right. Let's see here. Let me turn myself up. Okay.
They say it's fine. You don't have to mess with your. Jeff could be raised slightly.
I raised myself slightly, so we'll see. It is a new mic, so we are going to be adjusting that.
You don't project with the vibrato and vibrato.
I just don't have the confidence that a Mike Minotti has. Everyone knows that. Yeah, that's all the reviews on iTunes say that. So I appreciate that.
They will now.
All right. Number 4 on this rundown I have here: Dragon Quest 35th anniversary event on May 26th. Mike, tell me why I care about this.
Well, you don't.
Okay, cool.
But this makes me happy because we were talking about Square Enix at E3, and I think we even said like, oh, maybe Dragon Quest will be there. And then when I thought about it more, I'm like, no, Square Enix is not going to announce the next Dragon Quest at a North American event. That is still a franchise that matters more in Japan. Like Final Fantasy, they're fine doing that with, but not Dragon Quest. So that's what we have coming just like a couple weeks before E3 now is this Dragon Quest event. So now they could announce a new Dragon Quest here and still have it at E3, but it's not going to be the announcement, but it's still there, right? So that makes sense. There's still a part of me that's like, maybe we're getting, a Dragon Quest 9 remake and another spin-off game like Dragon Quest Builders 3. Maybe we're not getting Dragon Quest 12 yet. Maybe it's just a smidge too early. But there's a much more optimistic part of me. It's like, no, we're getting Dragon Quest 12. They're going to show that off. That's why else would you hype up an event like this unless you didn't have the next number one?
Yeah,
So, I mean, those are my expectations. I'm getting my hopes up a bit, but
yeah, and
it's not a
I think it's
for sure
okay.
thing.
Like, yeah, I mean, what is disappointment? Like, it's not going to kill you if you're
Yeah,
disappointed.
I'll be
Yeah,
fine.
yeah,
I'm
exactly. So
34 years old. I can get over it and just go play more Final Fantasy 14 and be okay.
yeah, exactly. So yeah, no, I'm excited for you. I think a lot of people are hoping it's Dragon Quest 12. And I think it'll be, it's going to make it really start to feel like, oh, May 26th, we are in E3 season. A big game just got announced. That'd be cool.
I think so. Some people are saying, "Oh, there's not enough time," but for a long time now, each Dragon Quest has been like on a different platform, like a different engine or whatever. I think this time they can really build off of what they did with Dragon Quest 11 and just kind of make another one more or less. So 4 years might actually be enough time. But I think some people are expecting more remakes, more games coming to Switch, which would also be great. Although I'll be a little kind of mad at myself because I'm like 10 hours into Dragon Quest 8 right now on the 3DS. So I'm committed there. If Dragon Quest 9 came to the Switch, I would be very happy. And maybe that second trilogy, 4, 5, and 6 could come to Switch too. That'd be great.
Yeah, I think that would be. I'm expecting that sort of thing. So hopefully. Okay, let's see here. Some other JRPG news. Yakuza is going to remain a turn-based RPG going forward, and then they're making a new Judgment called Lost Judgment, and that's going to be the actions like series from that company now going forward. Are you excited about this?
When I was actually playing Yakuza 7, the thing I kind of realized is that the combat is really not much of a focus in these games anyway. They're very much story focused, right? So you can almost kind of make that combat system whatever anyways. I liked the turn-based combat system. I thought it was fun. It was kind of silly. I know you love that thing of him using his phone, right? That's your I'm ordering pizza gif.
Yes, it is.
So yeah, sure. Why not?
You said GIF. I can't believe you're one of those. I forgot.
I am. I'm one of them. I told you I'm the only one with good taste.
There's actually a image format called .gif. What do you call that, Mike?
Nothing.
Fair enough. You're right. No one uses it.
I call it beneath me.
No one actually uses it, so that's fair. All right, fine. All right. Yakuza 7 was the most successful release in franchise history. And basically, this has given Sega the idea that it could make more money. And it's a novel concept by releasing these games worldwide at the same time and on more platforms, especially when it comes to Atlas games.
Atlas games? Which one?
Weird. I don't know, Mike. Definitely not Persona, because that's got to be on one console, and usually like a last-gen console, preferably.
God, I still have no idea why Persona 3, 4, and 5 aren't on Switch already. That's gotta be happening. Maybe something Sega's gonna talk about at E3. I don't know. I get with Persona 5, it's like there must be some kind of a deal. Although, like when there's a Final Fantasy 7 remake deal, we all know about it, right? Like that's very well publicized. We don't know about some deal with Atlas and Persona 5. So I don't know. There can't be a deal with Persona 4 Golden anymore. They must be able to put that on Switch whenever they want to, you would imagine. So I don't know. I have no idea. And they're like, but it's like you slowly see them making steps. Like they made a statement like, we think that actually we could make money if we bring these games to more platforms, including the most popular one. It's like, yes, I think you're right. I bet that'll work. Have 5 more meetings and then decide to do it, please.
It's almost going to feel weird when it finally does happen. Like, okay, what's the catch?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so I mean, clearly Yakuza has maybe woken someone up at Sega, and Yakuza 7 it did very well. The company's in a good place with that thing, and it's like clearly the reason why is it went global in a very big way on Game Pass and at the beginning of a generation, and it's paying dividends for that. So
Did you see that? There's another thing today where apparently Sega was like, we're maybe going to revise some of our franchises, and they specifically like just threw out like Crazy Taxi and Jet Set Radio as
yeah.
examples. Like it's very like this isn't a rumor. This is something they said. So it's like they're just like speaking. They're like throwing ideas out there.
Yeah. Would
like,
this be
on
good?
The internet.
Would you like this? Would you like this? Maybe this is this a
Like,
good idea?
yes!
They also said they're going to have
just do it.
a super game, which I don't know. What does that mean?
Game.
What does that mean? A super game?
It must. I have no idea. Maybe they're bringing back Rystar. That'd be nice. I have no idea. Like, what do they have that could be super except for Sonic? Right, that's their big thing. Still.
Right, super Sonic. Yeah.
They've let everything else basically fade away unless it's Yakuza or an Atlas thing, and like they've let all their other franchises become irrelevant.
So let's let everybody know. We'll get the super chats here in a bit. We're getting a lot of them now. During the question segment, we'll get to you unless something pops up, and we'll get that earlier. But then also I have questions we'll answer soon, and also I wanted to let Mike know that the chat has really turned against you since you said GIF. So
really,
yeah, they have really. There was a lot of outcry against that, and so I want to thank chat for helping me out here. Really. All right. Let's see. I did the Sega stuff, so that means Ubisoft. Ubisoft is delaying Skull and Bones again, Mike. Can you believe it?
Yes, I can. Absolutely. I listened to the investor call for this, which I hate doing, by the way. It's just so boring. But like when they said like this, or this came up, or it was in the release, I didn't even bat an eye. I think at some point when they delayed the game last time, they arbitrarily threw a date, like 2021. Did anybody, like the day before they said this, actually think Skull and Bones was coming out this year? No. We know that game has been having development issues. They haven't shown anything about it. This was the most obviously that game's not coming. I don't even want to call it a delay. It was more like an oversight that they forgot that they said years ago that this game was going to come out this year. Of course it wasn't.
Well, I'm glad you went to town on that one, so I feel like we could just move on to Ubisoft expects to generate a larger percentage of its revenue from free-to-play games. People freaked out about this one, Mike, because
people did freak out.
It was a bit of a misinterpretation of what was said. Basically, the way they phrased it made it sound like we're going to make fewer AAA games, and really what they were saying was we expect less of our revenue to be made up of, like percentage-wise, to be made up of AAA games, because we expect to make more money from free-to-play games. And really what this is they were already making fewer AAA games in 2018. They explicitly said the plan going forward is to make fewer games. They had already made that decision. And then, so now they're at a point where they're like, okay, where else are we going to grow then if we're going to not make, more AAA games? And clearly it's free to play. And clearly it is stuff like the Division Heartland, which is going to be their Warzone, and it's going to be their Apex Legends. And or hopefully that's the plan. If it doesn't turn out that way, we'll try something else until they get one of these, basically.
Right. I mean, they already tried once with Hyperscape, and I think they're looking at Warzone being like, no, we have to tie one of our franchises to this for people to care. And that's like all of them are doing this, right? They all want their own Warzone. They've all been saying as much. Activision Blizzard's been saying the same thing. They want all of their major franchises to have some kind of free-to-play version out there. And it doesn't mean like, oh, there won't be any more Call of Duties or there won't be, any more real Diablos, but they want that stuff there, and Ubisoft's just following that trend. It's not that surprising. There are still going to be, the big Assassin's Creed games. There's still going to be Rainbow Six. But maybe Rainbow Six is one you can adapt to a free-to-play thing pretty painlessly. I don't know. I'll tell you what shocked me about Ubisoft was they're like games in development, and they're still like Beyond Good and Evil 2. I'm like, all right,
sure thing, we believe you.
Say so.
Yep. Capcom also reported some earnings, and I just wanted to kind of point out an interesting chart that they shared where it was like, why is this company making so much money? This one chart shows it, and it's basically an annual chart that shows big game releases and how these games have continued to sell. So Resident Evil 7 came out in 2017, and it sold 350 or like 3.5 million units at that time. But in the next year, it sold 1.6 million units, and the next year 1.25 million, and then the year after that, 1 million units, and then the year after that, back up to 1.5 million units. And then they released Monster Hunter World in 2018, and it followed a similar trend. And Resident Evil 2 came out in 2019, and it's doing a similar trend. So basically, they're not just like releasing big games and making money just off the big games. These games are continuing to stack and making them more and more money over time, because they are seeing a lot of catalog sales. Now, of course, these games decrease in price a little bit over time, but still, this is a longer tail than most games have seen in previous generations. I think to me, this just says that like games are at a point where they feel newer for longer. Resident Evil 7 totally still just feels like a brand new game. And like if you go to play that now, it's going to feel that way. And it kind of in the past, if you played a game from 4 to 5 years ago, it would start to look like last generation really quickly, and that's just sort of gone away, right?
Right. Absolutely. Like, Resident Evil 7 is also available on Game Pass and I think PlayStation Plus or PlayStation Now, whatever that is. And so, they must have gotten some money there, and a lot of people are playing it and getting excited for Resident Evil 8. Capcom has done a very good job. It's something that Sega needs to do of identifying its biggest franchises, the ones that can make the most money, and really putting a lot of like attention and care into those with Monster Hunter and Resident
Yes.
Evil, where those are both franchises that are doing really well, look really good, like make fans really happy, right? And they have like their smaller things though that they'll still make a Mega Man game every now and then. They'll still do something with Phoenix Wright even, and we know there's big plans for Street Fighter still. But they've done a really good job of just identifying what can make money. All right, then let's invest in that very heavily. It's really impressive what they've done with Resident Evil. They've
Yes.
really like somehow that feels more important than ever at a time where it seemed like, oh yeah, maybe Resident Evil is old and shitty now. I don't know what, some PlayStation franchise from Japan. Like,
yeah.
think about all the other Japan PlayStation 1 franchises.
But I mean, like even like Final Fantasy, right? Like it almost seems more relevant than Final Fantasy, which is impressive. That I think that Final Fantasy still like has huge name cachet and does clearly sells well, but I don't think it sells as well as some of the Resident Evil games. Or maybe they're kind of on the same level or in that same range. But either way, it's like that's impressive that like Capcom has the other big PlayStation 1 franchise that has become a global phenomenon now, and they can regularly release games and keep it going. And it seems like it's not going to stop anytime soon. The series will have its ups and downs. It always has. I expect like them to like hit a hurdle at some point, but they always seem to bring it back, which is the impressive part.
Yeah, they'll probably release another Resident Evil 6 or something. Although Resident Evil 6 is still like the best-selling game in that franchise, and they've said that forever, and I don't believe that.
I know.
I don't know anyone who's played that game. Everyone panned it when it came out. I still don't understand that one, but apparently Resident Evil 6 is the best-selling game in that franchise. Like 8 must be able to take that over. I don't know how Resident Evil 2 remake didn't, but Resident Evil 8 must be breaking that.
Yeah, one of these games has to break that curse eventually. So hopefully, I think you might be right.
Think about these things. Every new game in a franchise that is moderately well received becomes the best-selling game in that franchise these days. Yes. There's just so many more people playing. So I have no idea how Resident Evil 6 from the 360 era has hold on to that title.
Last news story I have here is that Gabe Newell says Steam games will be on console by the end of the year. So to set this up, he's still living in New Zealand, like he has been since the pandemic began. He was traveling there, pandemic began, and he was just like, I'm just gonna kick it here. And good for him. But he's still hanging out there, and he got an invite, I think, from either a New Zealand high school, might have been a middle school. They were young kids, and they were asking him questions, and one of the questions they asked were, can we expect Steam games on console? And Gabe Newell paused and said, you will hear more about that by the end of the year. Mike, what do you think that means?
Man, I have no idea. It might even mean nothing. Gabe Newell might think it means something, but I don't know. Like, what could that mean? What are Steam games? Steam games are PC games. So does he mean there's going to be a Steam storefront on Xbox? Why would there be that? Does he mean Valve games are coming to more systems? That would make more sense. Which ones? Like, is Portal getting some ports to Switch or something? I don't know.
Half-Life Alyx on PlayStation VR 2 will probably happen.
Makes the most sense. And absolutely they would want to do that because that game was obviously expensive.
And if you're Sony, you want to make it happen. You want to make that's a big standout game that a lot of console players would not have played, and it could be one of your standout launch titles for PSVR 2.
Yeah, that has to be it. Because why? It has to be something both parties want. Why wouldn't they want that? So that's got to be it.
I think so. I agree.
Although if Half-Life 2 was on Switch, I'd be pretty excited about that. Yeah. I would want to try that.
The other thing I thought here, and I said this on DPS podcast last night, which people should check that out if they get a chance, is maybe Valve is working with Microsoft to use Azure to power cloud streaming games based on your Steam library. And as part of that, you could stream your Steam games to your Xbox. This is me pulling stuff out of my ass, though. So, but that's just like me trying to imagine what this could look like. Uh, I think it's Alex. I think it's Half-Life Alex.
I think that's overthinking it. I think it's just going to be
Yeah, no, I think you're right.
Half-Life Alex. Maybe some other VR. There are other VR stuff coming up. PlayStation VR too. I don't know.
All right, Mike, we got a lot of super chats to get through. You want to get started on them?
Let's get to these. Let's go back to the beginning here. Let me get my glasses on. I see the first one here is from Jedi Moss 4. With many arguing over what Halo today should be, is Infinite and the franchise in a no-win situation, and can they get the game out of that tailspin? We kind of talked about this a bit over the weeks about expectations in Halo Infinite. I don't think it's insurmountable. I think some people actually have reasonable expectations because the game has been in trouble, right? Like my expectations are kind of lowish, Like how good can this game be that apparently was in a rough enough shape that they had to delay it a whole nother year and kind of bring in new people to work on it and get rid of the guy who was in charge of it, right? So I don't know. What do you think?
I do think it's in a no-win situation in that this is going to be another Halo game, and it's going to still be very Halo, and that's going to satisfy Halo fans, and it's going to frustrate people who are like, oh, is this going to be something new and fresh? And it's going to be kind of like, maybe not. And then there's going to be a lot of people who have like sky-high expectations, and it was never going to meet those, and it's not going to meet those. And so, like, by definition, it's in a no-win scenario because it's not going to be able to satisfy a bunch of loud people. And I think this holiday, when it probably does come out, almost certainly comes out, I think we're going to hear a lot of immediate backlash from people who are just like, this is not Game of the Year material. And because of that, because that was my expectation, it is a failure. I still think, in terms of, long-term success and keeping players engaged, all that stuff can work out just fine. And keeping Halo fans happy, it could easily do that. But it's in this impossible situation where I honestly, I think if they had other games ready to go right now, a lot of other games ready to go, I think this game probably would get delayed again, and they would just completely rework it. But they're not going to have the time to do that, and that's going to have to be for Halo 7.
I wonder if they regret that initial reveal of it, right? Which kind of made it seem like, oh, this is a bigger deal than if it was just Halo 6. Like, it's called Halo Infinite. It's going to be on the next gen system. And we're like doing this big open world thing. I almost wonder if they could go back and maybe just be like, yeah, it's the next Halo. If maybe that would have been a better move for them. But you got to hype it up. Ariel Delgado says, any info on Omen Bethesda game? Which one's? Oh, is that the scary game? Is that why I don't know what Omen is?
No. So this is a thing that started to become like get around like the rumor mill in the past week. It's basically people are saying that Arcane Austin is making a vampire game with the
vampire
game with the code name Project Omen, and I don't know for sure, but that all sounds reasonable.
Basement Radio Arcade Podcast just says,
Brap.
Happy Friday, Jeff and Mike. Brap, happy Friday to you.
Thank you, Brap.
Yeah. Kurim is asking, here's the real From Software E3 question. What do you guys think about the rumor that Dark Souls 2 and 3 are headed to Switch? Why not?
Yeah, that seems like the kind of thing that makes sense. Both 2 and 3 were also published by Bandai Namco. That seems like the kind of thing that you throw into your E3 conference. Yeah, I'm hopeful for that.
Gaming Forte just says, I'm here to mess with you, and bald Jeff, winky face. Oh, winky face.
Hey, Forte.
Winking like crazy at you. All right. Metal Fly, will we see Arc 2 at E3? Keep it up. I wish that it was a real E3 with like crowds just so that we could have Vin Diesel
come on stage. Yeah, me too.
Keanu this year.
I don't know. I don't think so. I'm gonna say I don't think so.
No, I feel like that's just gonna have its own like little like developer video at some point, right?
I agree. Yes. Yeah. So probably not. Sorry.
Tyler James Bay, happy Friday, Mike, and slightly hairier, Mike. When do you think we'll start getting times and dates for the E3 conferences / directs?
I think by the end of this month. So keep in mind, it's a digital event. They don't have to start shipping stuff. They don't have to like lock a lot of this stuff down. I think they have locked the dates down at this point, clearly. But the things are still also kind of fluid where like if you want to make your thing go a little bit longer or take a little bit less time, you could still do that, and the ESA will accommodate that stuff when trying to make it all fit into the E3 schedule. But by the end of this month, probably not next week, but the week after that, I expect we'll probably start hearing some exact dates and times. And my guess is it's going to look a lot like it has in the past in terms of like the order of events, where Microsoft tends to go early, Nintendo tends to go late, that sort of thing. So, but we'll find out soon.
Alejandro Molina. Hi, Mike and Jeff. Greetings from Mexico. Any idea of when xCloud will be available in my neck of the woods?
No, I'm sorry. I wish we knew more, but those kinds of things, honestly, once they start rolling it out worldwide, it's kind of the kind of thing where we don't try to keep track of it too hard because it's just going to get there when it gets there. I'm sorry about that. I hope it's sooner rather than later.
Is it the new rumor that the next Forza Horizon is going to be in Mexico?
Yeah, right.
That'll help.
Maybe that does that. I mean, that helps, right? It's got to help, I would think, because they're probably going to do something in Mexico. And yeah, I would be hopeful, but yes. So I don't know. Hopefully soon.
Cade Odner asks, will Ubisoft announce a new Splinter Cell this year, or will they continue to screw me over? I mean, at this point, like, never expect Splinter Cell, right? It's going to happen at some point, but I don't know when you expect it, unless you know something.
No, and hi, Kate. Thanks for the super chat. I think probably not again. It's the kind of thing that if it happens, it is going to be the kind of thing where, like Microsoft pays Ubisoft to do a sort of an exclusive and a big AAA exclusive, kind of like Nintendo and Ubisoft did with, which I guess it's not a huge big budget game, but Mario plus Rabbids, that sort of thing. And I don't know. I just think it's probably not going to happen, at least not this year. So sorry about that.
Timothy
I hope I'm wrong.
G. I hope you're never wrong, because I love it when you're right. It's beautiful, and it brings sunshine into my life.
You're still not invited next week. You're still not invited.
I don't want your invitations. I'm not coming. Jeff, do you have anything on Shin Megami Tensei 5?
Mike, I got a question for you. You have anything on Shin Megami Tensei 5?
So, I mean, it could show up at Nintendo's thing, right? There's always that possibility. I think we might see something. I know that they are very focused on launching the Shin Megami Tensei 3 Nocturne remake on Switch. I know that came out in Japan already, but it's coming out in North America soon. And they're being pretty aggressive with that, at least on the press side. So they want some focus on that. So I don't know if that's bad news for 5 or not, but I don't have anything special about it. It'll be fine. I wouldn't be too shocked if we saw it at E3. Mattathias likes Elimination Time JRPG Edition. Only one series can stay. The other two are banished forever. Dragon Quest, Trails of Cold Steel, or Suikoden.
Suikoden.
So Suikoden, this is Suikoden. I don't even know. That's one I'll probably get at. I've only played 1 and 2 for Suikoden, which I think most people think are the best one. I think one of the later ones people like too. But 2 is fantastic. Trails of Cold Steel. So I love Trails in the Sky. I haven't actually played Cold Steel yet because I kind of just keep like desperately waiting for that whole sub series to be playable portably, because I don't want to play like Trails of Cold Steel 1 for 60 hours in my living room for whatever reason. Like, I want to play that in bed. Dragon Quest, though, is playable on a lot of things. I've been playing more of that. So Dragon Quest is the one I'm going to keep, and I'm going to have to send Cold Steel and Suikoden to the abyss, I'm afraid. There's also
Go to hell, Suikoden.
There's that Crossbow series for Trails, which is in between Trails in the Sky and Trails of Cold Steel, that has... They haven't translated it officially, but apparently the fan translations are fantastic. So I almost want to play those before Cold Steel. Trails in the Sky might be the best game from any 3 of these. That's not true. Dragon Quest 11 is probably better. Yeah, Dragon Quest is staying. Bobby Jacobs. So if you are saying you don't expect Starfield to release this year, what type of presents are you expecting at E3? Are you thinking trailer, big reveal with Todd Howard, or 2018 style quick cinematic?
So if you remember, I think last week, or maybe it was on the Game Mess, I said that Xbox and Bethesda are actually making their E3 presence like closer together, and that means like they're not going to be separate events with a little bit of a connection between them. They're basically going to be the same event. And a lot of people will take this to mean that they want to make sure everyone knows that Xbox and Bethesda are together. And to me, I think this means that Bethesda doesn't want to have to carry its own show. And instead, it's going to be like, hey, we definitely have Starfield. Maybe we have something else. Maybe it's that like that Arkham or that Arcane Austin Project Omen game. Maybe we have one other thing. I would hope for Wolfenstein 3, but I'm not getting my hopes up. But we don't want to have to like show our cards for like years and years off if we don't have to, and we don't have to because we're part of Xbox. So maybe bring us into the fold, and we'll do a lot on Starfield. We'll really build that up. This is the E3 to show off Starfield. And so I to me that means I think Starfield will kind of have like the second biggest presence after Halo. Whether that means it's going to be a huge blowout, I don't know, but I definitely expect to see gameplay. Yeah, I'm expecting and I'm hopeful that we'll see gameplay.
Alrighty. Long shot. Oh, this is from Mantis Toboggan MD. Long shot, but what can you say about Half-Life 3?
No, no.
Oh, no. What do you mean no?
I mean, you said Half-Life 3, right? I'm not. Did I mishear you?
Yeah. So wait, did you play Half-Life, Alex? No.
No. I played. Well, I did play some of it. I didn't beat it.
So the end, I mean, okay, like small spoilers here, but the end of it is very clearly like setting up Half-Life 3. Now, to be clear, like the end of Half-Life 2 episode 2 and the end of like Portal 2 is
Yeah.
even setting up the next Half-Life. That didn't happen.
Right.
But I mean, I don't, so I guess, if there's still a possibility, it seems like it would make a lot of sense if the Half-Life Alex team just after that went on and started working on Half-Life 3. Now, again, it's Half-Life 3.
Okay, yeah.
Who knows anymore? But I think there's reasons to think it is happening. I don't think it's a game that's going to show up at E3 or anything. Like
I
that,
bet
but
it's a game that there's still people at Valve working on. That's all. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see if that ever turns into anything.
AJ, hi Jeff and Mike, hope all is well. If you are unsure about Starfield this year, would it be a shock if it did come out this year? Also, do you think Microsoft will release a Halo console for Infinite?
It might be a bit early to try to do custom consoles, right? Because they're struggling to meet demand as is, and
Yeah, that's true.
kind of spinning up a new manufacturing line just for the. Yeah, it's difficult. And what's the point, right? When you're already selling every system. And then the question was about Starfield. Would I be surprised if it came out this year?
So I guess like what like are you absolutely convinced it's not this year, or do you think there's still hope that it could be this year?
I'm not convinced because I haven't heard 100% one way or the other. But I am less. I would be surprised if it came out this year. Now is kind of how I would say it. So yes, when I've said in the past that I think it's trending towards this year, I want to completely undo that and correct the record and say 2022, Starfield 2022, and we'll see it at E3, I think. But it's coming out next year.
Nick Turbo says, cancel Mikey for how he pronounces Jeff. Jeff.
So, there was another one real quick, just since we're on this topic. Let's see here. Someone said, might have scrolled past it.
What is it? Is it what when Levster? Gosh,
yes,
Levster. Yeah. If both of you all say giraffe, then we can settle the GIF debate. Yeah, there you go.
Graph. Graph. Okay, fine, giraffe, but not every word. Like, listen, it's the English language. I think did we lose Mike? Mike, you there? I think we lost Mike. All right. Oh my God, how do I do this without Mike? I lost them both on Discord and on Zencaster. Chat, can you still hear me? Okay, so you could still you say Mike is down. Okay, I think he's texting me. All right, how's everybody doing? My power flickered off. I'm on my way back. All right, so Mike will be back in a second. While he's doing that, let me answer some questions from our podcast producers. I won't answer any that might need Mike. Let's see here. From Nick Turbo, with events like E3, how many announcements do news sites like GamesBeat know beforehand, and how many are just as much of a surprise to you as it is to us? So, I will say most of the time, most of the news is a surprise. We have gone to E3 Judges Week a lot in the past. Not everything is at Judges Week. Some, I think 2K is often there, and Gearbox was often there to show off the Borderlands game. So you know about that sort of thing. And the Final Fantasy VII remake, we knew we heard about that news right beforehand, but it wasn't even it was that day. I think we had heard about it. Oh man, I'm sorry, I got the infinity thing happening here. Let me turn that off while we wait for him. All right. And then, but for them, I would say for the most part, we are mostly surprised. And that's a little bit different in recent years, where I've maybe gotten the rundown on like EA. I've definitely I had at EA the last couple of years, and we heard a little bit about Nintendo. Uh, I hear more now than I have in the past, basically. But in general, most of the time, especially if you're just saying like news sites in general, most of the time we are surprised, and we were sitting there trying to like put stubs up that are like most of the story written, and then we just fill in the gaps with what we think might happen. And that works out pretty well. All right, let's see here. Let's do another one. From Mrs. Jeff, I'm going to the gas station. Do you want anything? Yes. Get me a Red Bull and like a giant water. All right. Revan, one of our mods, asked a bunch of questions that I think we mostly answered. Hellblade 2 at E3. Yeah. Like I said, I don't think right now, or no, this is the one where I was like, I had said previously that it like, and I don't know if it was on this show or not, but I said previously that it will be at E3, and I just want to say that I don't know anymore, and I'm like reversing that. From Benji Bop, what's a game that would only be on your game of the last generation list and no one else's? That's a tough one, but probably for me it would have been like Spin Tires and Mud Runner and stuff like that. I guess Snow Tires came out last generation. So yeah, basically that franchise. I'm a huge fan of that franchise, and I would say very few other people are. Those games sell pretty well, but you don't hear a lot of other people in the media talking about them. And we got a lot of questions. I'm glad I'm getting a chance to do this. From Jake Bogdanoff, hey guys, with the Mario Golf hype a brewing, I'm curious, what are your favorite non-kart Mario sports and specific entries? So, non-kart Mario sports games, I think I really like the Mario Golf and the Mario Tennis ones that were on the Game Boy Color that had the RPG elements. Those were both fantastic. I really love those. But my favorite, I really like Mario Strikers. I feel like there's one that I really love that I'm forgetting, but those are definitely on the top. And I think Mike likes those RPG golf and tennis ones as well. Um, here's a good one. From Jake Bogdanoff. When do you think we'll get Psychonauts 2? Please say E3 Shadow Drop. I don't know. I would love to see that though. I would love to see that happen. I think we might be jumping to conclusions there a little bit, but I definitely think that it's still possible. Okay, the rest of these questions are for me and Mike, and I got to go to the bathroom, so I'm gonna take a break. I'll be right back, and I'll hit the be right back button. Mike might show back up on here. If he does, then he'll take over. Let him know where I went. Mike, you there?
Hi, I'm
All right.
back. I'm getting back. Oh
No, we're
my
good.
god.
I had to go. I had to go to the bathroom anyhow. So.
The
Whoa.
thing video, I had a video playing on my phone. Well, of course, yeah. So obviously, I know you wanted to cancel me. I didn't think that you would get your friends at Microsoft to send an electric shot to Poland, Ohio,
Hey,
to knock
listen.
me off.
I get a few favors in from Bill Gates, and I had to call one in and really just do you. Yeah, get rid of you once and for all.
Yeah. Can you invite me back to the call?
Yes. Hang on.
Oh, did you guys have fun without me?
Yeah, well, I answered some questions from the podcast producers, and we had a lot, so it was good to get a start on that.
All right. Yeah. And of course, once that happened, of course, my computer had to like install Windows updates and stick
Oh
with it
no,
too.
of course.
Yeah, fun stuff. Fun stuff.
Okay, so we're back, everybody. Make sure let us know if there's any like technical issues, but I think we should be good. Mike, if you want, you want to pick up back up with the super chats?
Yeah, I gotta log back into Stream Elements real quick. I'm
okay.
sorry.
Well, yeah, no worries. Let's see. While you're doing that, here, let me scroll up. There was a good one I wanted to ask you. Mike, what's your favorite non-kart Mario sports game?
I actually heard you answer this, and I was mad because you said the Mario RPG tennis and golf games, which is correct, but you said they were for Game Boy Color, a platform you said doesn't even exist, and they were for Game Boy Advance. So.
Oh my god,
But
the Game Boy Color one definitely also had RPG elements.
Did it? I don't think. Did it really? I don't know. I don't believe you. I didn't play those ones.
Well, who doesn't believe something exists now? Wow. I'm pretty sure. Because I think it was before the Game Boy Advance. Because I was living in Michigan still. So yeah, I think so.
All right. Well, so I got thrown off of the internet and the entire electrical grid when I said GIF, and then I tried to pronounce giraffe. So but I'm back, and I got more of your super chats from Brett Bingham. Jeff, how many new unannounced exclusives, first and third party, do you think will be announced for Xbox this year? E3. Now, Jeff, I want you to answer the question. I don't want you to philosophize here. Give me a number.
Okay, what is from first and third party?
Yes. How many new unannounced exclusives, first and third party, E3 2021? Your number, sir.
All right, I'm thinking. Like things that had never been announced before. The the number is.
So don't forget to include Ball and Wonderworld 2.
Oh well, then. Okay. Well, then it's one. No, I'm joking. It'll be 4, 5.
I didn't like that.
4.5. It'll be 4.5. It'll be 4 or 5. One of those. Do I have to say
4 or
one?
5. Seems kind of low.
Yeah, yeah. People keep saying that they're expecting there to be a lot, and I'm less sure about that. I have always said that much because I think they've already announced a lot of the stuff they have. I think that the number of new games we're going to see that have never been announced anywhere else before is going to be relatively low. But that's me. That's my guess.
All right. Dovakin89 says, Jeff, did you already talk about the Starfield leak? You talked about Starfield. Was there a leak of some sort we didn't talk about?
No, yeah. Today online, a bunch of pictures are dropping. And really, if you guys want to keep up with this, a good place to go is the Discord. Because Oda in our Discord has had these things for a long time. Has had these things for a long time, apparently. And is on top of it and can explain to you what's happening in all these images really well. So join the Discord. Come hang out with us there. I think I will make a Starfield channel so we can actually talk about that game quite a bit because I think it's going to be the topic of a conversation through E3.
The game I wanted to cancel last year.
Yeah. But yeah, it looks cool. But this we've got to keep in mind. I think this is like early-ish artwork from like more than a year ago. Again, Oda knows more than I do. I was getting ready for the podcast when this started happening. So get in the Discord and we'll talk about it there.
Jalen's 001. Does the general discourse or reviews matter a lot? If Halo Infinite is like an 80, that probably reviews better than Roblox/Fortnite. Roblox is doing fine without a lot of traditional gaming coverage. Like, wouldn't Sony trade Naughty Dog for Roblox? So we talked about this before, but it matters for these companies that have prestige titles. In that instance, reviews do matter. We know that Sony loves Naughty Dog because they release games that like get mid or high 90s Metacritic scores, and it gives them that perception of like, yes, very like good games come out for the system and they look better than anything else.
Yep, I echo that too. I think At the same time, reviews matter less than ever. Fewer people care about reviews. A big part of that is more games are free to play. And we learned early on in this business that no one cared about mobile game reviews because they're so disposable. You just go and download it yourself and see if you like it. And it kind of doesn't matter what anyone else says because you're not paying any money for it. And as we get more free to play games on console and PC, reviews definitely matter less. And in general, and like as we get like Game Pass, reviews matter less because people are just going to go try these things for themselves. But in the case of the biggest games in the world that do cost $70, making sure you got a 90 or above on Metacritic does actually make a difference. It really does. It helps build word of mouth. And if there is someone sitting at the store looking at a shelf of games and they check their phone real quick for best games of the year, chances are they're going to see that number and it's going to really help. It's not the be all end all, but it helps.
And that's why we have to execute you for sabotaging Returnal's Metacritic score.
Yes, exactly. I need to be punished for that, definitely.
Troop, good guy. Think ER will have lots of content. What's Elden Ring?
Elden Ring.
You think I was like ER at the show? Yeah. So, I mean, what's content at this point, right? I mean, it's being developed, so there's always ideas being thrown around, and some are being developed, and some are going to get taken out later. I'm sure it's a very liquid game right now, right?
Yeah, this is I appreciate the question. I get what you're saying, but this is not the way to think about producing creative works. Editors exist, and they get to decide what is in their product and what's not. And if they cut something out, it is not them. Not finishing a thing for you that you would have gotten, it would have been great. It was them deciding this is something that's not good enough for the game, and we're going to make the game better by cutting this stuff out. And that happens with everything, and maybe it happens sometimes with other games more than others, where they just couldn't make most of the game work or something like that. I don't think this is going to be one of those extreme cases. I think it's going to be a pretty standard From game that is going to make a lot of people very happy once it does come out. But they're just worried about living up to their high standards, and that's what this is about.
Best SSBB player, which SSBB means Super Smash Brothers Brawl, by the way.
Thank you.
That.
Wow.
I don't know if you want to brag about being the best.
You're very impressive. Yeah, that's another good point. Yeah.
Is Metroid Prime Trilogy or a new 2D Metroid coming soon? Those are both interesting because so there's that former retro developer who's talking about why Metroid Prime Trilogy would be very hard, and basically it's Metroid Prime 3's fault because that game was designed with like the Wiimote and nunchuck so specifically, and apparently like they don't have the base code or source code in a way that they could easily change that. Now that's different from what you told me that that's basically done,
right?
Come out whenever.
Yeah, so I would say.
So are you a liar? Is what I'm asking you, Jeff.
So to that point, I think the point he's making is is true. I think the thing to keep in mind here is that Nintendo is has released Wii games on and you could say they might have the code for Super Mario Galaxy or whatever, but they didn't like remake that game, and they didn't go in the code. They put a wrapper on top, an emulation layer. And they could use that emulation layer to interact with the game in different ways. And they're just going to do the same thing with Metroid. I think a good channel, MVG, Modern Vintage Gamer, he talked a little bit about this when the emulator first popped up for the Super Mario 3D World or Super Mario 3D Collection, Super Mario 3D All Stars. Go watch that video. He explains it very well. But basically, they built an emulation layer specifically to interact with these games, sort of above the code in a way that just like hooks onto the code from the top. And that'll enable them to do this, and that's basically what they're going to use for the Wii version as well.
Mm-hmm. I'll say this though: even if like everything said was true, I'd be pretty mad if I wasn't getting Metroid Prime 1 on my Switch because Metroid Prime 3 was holding. Like, come on!
I agree. Yes,
and I understand why maybe they wouldn't want to just release 1 or even 2 now because they released it as a trilogy before. But it's like, you can leave 3 behind. That's why I'd like to have it. Sure, but like if it's all or nothing, What about the 2D Metroid thing? We've been hearing about that forever now. Here's my question: if it's not shown at E3, is that just not actually a thing after all?
Yeah, it feels like the kind of thing that was probably supposed to happen, and whether or not it actually comes out is another question. I'm hopeful for it still, and I think we will see it, and I think it'll come out like later this year, but I don't know. But I think we'll find out at E3. And if it's not at the C3, I think you might be onto something. And maybe it just disappears forever. But we'll see.
All right, Patrick Dennis, do you? No, I'm not asking this of him. He's asking this of us, I should say. Do you anticipate any more acquisition talks from Microsoft? We know they're shopping, but is there anyone that is selling?
Yeah, that's the thing we've talked about before, right? Not many people are selling, or the companies that are selling aren't necessarily what Microsoft's looking for, or they'll just like we'll make less of a splash. I think we will, just because there is so much money going around, and now that we are coming on the other side of the pandemic, Microsoft's needs to buy are still very much there, and like still creating a high demand, which is pushing prices up still a little bit. But we're going to start seeing like the highs of like revenue levels from these companies start to peter down a little bit, and so these companies will have smaller numbers to point to when they say how much they're worth in the future. So right now they are at a high point in terms of their value, in terms of their value, and they're going to want to capitalize on this. And so if Microsoft's still buying, you go to Microsoft and you take the deal right now. But I guess we'll just have to see if it's going to be, if there's anyone out there that really is in that situation, and I don't know about that.
Josh Tarpley just says that the universe canceled Mike. Got him. No, Jeff in Microsoft canceled me. I know that's what it was. He's obviously corrupt. He got his Microsoft friends to send the internet shocks.
Yes.
Cut off the tube. The internet is just a series of tubes, right? So they must
Steve
have
Ballmer,
clogged up
attack!
My tube. King 2002 trying to get me again. I'm too smart this time. I am not going to ask Jeff this question about Sugma, and I'm not going to say what is Sugma. I know what you're doing. This is just Ligma all over again. I cannot be fooled. Gosh, this name is in a language I do not know, so I apologize for not saying it. But Jeff, did you hear anything new about the next mode of game? Is it actually based on existing IP, and it's definitely not Mirror's Edge? It's definitely not Mirror's Edge. I think we could say that, right?
Yeah, I echo what Mike Minotti has just said. But
is that all you're gonna say about it?
I think it's an existing IP. Yeah, that's all I'm gonna say.
All right then. Humdrum Dog 0211. No Hellblade, Avowed, Starfield. What WTF Xbox has then? So if they don't have Hellblade, they don't have Avowed, they don't have Starfield. What do they have? They might have Hellblade.
They might. I don't. The point with Hellblade was that I don't know anymore. And so yeah, but they might still, but I don't know. So what do they have? And I think this is the kind of the point that we've been making for a while about Xbox, and it is that it's probably going to feel like an Xbox show. It's probably going to feel like an Xbox E3. And what does that mean? It's going to be like, it could be good. It could surprise people. Some people might be happy. It's going to depend on how good Halo is. But I don't think it's going to be like the biggest E3 showcase ever. I think it's going to provide some small updates about some things that are still a long ways off. And I also think that Microsoft, we always say, oh, they're very tapped into the community. They're very good on social media. They listen to everybody. And what is the one thing everyone has always said that they want no more of from Microsoft? It is CG trailers. Please give us very few. Like, we understand in some cases you're making an announcement for a game that is a few years off.
They had to do it for Fable, right? That was exactly the only thing they could do.
Right, exactly. And like Perfect Dark got one and all this. So, they've done the CG trailers. If they're going to show a game again, it's not going to be another CG trailer, and that means that game just probably won't show up at the showcase. And this is my kind of take on it. This is what I think. I just think that they've listened and they know they can't do that anymore. And so I think that if they have a choice between a CG trailer and nothing, I think in some cases they're going to go with nothing and just say, hey, let's focus on the games that we are launching. Starfield really is a big deal, and if we position it as such, we can really ride that one pretty far. And then, but yeah, and that's why I say like 4 new game announcements, and that doesn't mean like all those are going to be the biggest thing in the world. Some of those games will still be pretty far off. But that's kind of like right in the range I'm in, where I think we're probably not going to be too surprised by what they have.
Mattathias says, if Mike can pronounce Geiger correctly in one try, I will buy Jeff the Ball in Wonderworld ebook.
Thanks a lot, Mike.
That's my official submission. Giguere.
Geiger.
Giguere. It's like a cheese. Giguere. Geiger was my answer, so let me know if that's right, man. I don't know.
Giguere.
Bobby Jacobs. If Starfield is released in 2022, do you believe it will be A normal quarter 4 release window, or potentially quarter 1 to quarter 3 release?
I think it could be the first half of the year if you're using the calendar, like the calendar. So like Q1, Q2. I think it could be the first half of 2022. I don't know if they'll give us a date in terms of like when they're going to release it, like a month in a year. I think they'll probably just say 2022 when they show it off. But I think it's probably going to be the first half of next year. Maybe it could still easily slip into the holiday. But if they are showing off at the C3 and it's holiday 2023. To me, that says, why wouldn't you just hold it off until E3 2023? And maybe that's just because they need something for the show. But I'm pretty hopeful that it'll be in like the early part of next year.
Aerodemus says, "Hey guys, are you reviewing Biomutants, and why do you think it is the game of the year?" I'm not reviewing it.
I will if we get a code, Mike. So Mike's review editor. So tell him
right.
to go get a code, and I'm interested in it.
I have to go see. Faso007. I don't know what is wrong with console warriors. They just reached a level of wishing death to a whole ethnicity. I just start blocking people. Well, I don't know what he's talking about, and I'm glad I don't. I think death to a whole ethnicity is genocide, which is pretty bad. So yeah, that's awful.
Yeah, it's up there in terms of badness. Yeah, yeah, that's awful. I'm sorry, Faisal. That's but thank you for tuning
just block
in.
people.
Just absolutely don't even hesitate. Block it. They're not worthy of your time. They don't deserve it. So you just block it. It's not you saying I can't handle them. It's saying you don't deserve me. That's what a block is.
I can't stand the people who are like when they get blocked. They're when the whole thing was happening with you were Eternal, right? And you're like, I had people come to me like, "Can you tell Jeff to unblock me?" I was like, "No, I'm not going to tell Jeff to unblock you. He can block you if he wants. I don't it's not my business. I don't care." Okay, this is our last one for now. You guys want to get any more in? That's fine. If they come in later, we'll get to them before the end of the show. Devious, do you think the ramp up from Xbox Game Studios will start pumping soon? Xbox has tons in development at the moment. Matt Booty did say he wanted a major first party release every couple months or so for Game Pass.
Yeah, so I think the ramp up will start happening soon, but you got to think soon in terms of like probably once Starfield comes out. I do think they will start hitting their stride, and they will have something every couple of months. But they are still in that situation, like we talked about earlier on this episode, where a lot of the acquisitions they made are with studios that had previous agreements. They got Bethesda, but Bethesda has 2 games that are coming out exclusively to PlayStation 5. And those companies need to finish those projects before they can move on to the next thing. And so that means they're going to be not years, but they're going to be like a year off, like legitimately starting on Xbox exclusive games. And so yeah, I think that it'll happen. We'll get to that point, but we're just still in this weird transition period for them. And I know it feels like we've been saying this for forever, right? Like, okay, Xbox has a bunch of good news, but where are the games? And then people say, well, the games are coming. And if that's still the answer right now, that is absolutely a bummer. It's a disappointment. It is a little bit unacceptable, I think, to a certain point. But once they do hit their stride, it will start to feel like, okay, we are getting big stuff that I'm excited about, and it's not going to let up for years at a time. But they just haven't gotten to that point yet.
We got a couple more here that came in well. Yeah. Richard Lancaster is trying to get me again with another Ligma. It's the Mike Hunt one. Now that one was in The Simpsons, so I know about Mike Hunt.
Right. Yep.
So you can't get me.
Man, was that really on The Simpsons? They made that joke on TV.
Yeah, it was one of the Bart Simpsons calling. Maybe it wasn't. That is pretty crude, isn't it?
Yeah, it's lewd and crude.
I think it might. It was like early Simpsons. Maybe I'm wrong.
Maybe they got away with it.
I know about Mike Hunt. Yep. I got to stop saying I know about Mike Hunt. All right. Yatsuba, predictions for Smash and 2 reveals maybe. So they're definitely going to reveal one of the deals. There's 2 more DLC characters in that fighter pass for Smash Brothers on Switch. They're definitely going to reveal the one, and the one will probably come out real soon. And then maybe they're going to reveal the second one, and that's the one that comes out closer to like holiday even. So I don't know. 1 for sure, maybe 2. What can they be? It's so hard to predict anymore because it can be anything now, really. Yep. It's just hard. You would think maybe we'd finally get a Monster Hunter character now with Rise. Like, why the heck not? That would seem to make a lot of sense. But I don't know. It's Nintendo. They can do anything they want. It'll be third-party stuff. That's for sure.
All right.
Well, I guess it's not for sure because they've done ARMS. It'll probably be third-party. I don't even know. I can't even say. I still wish it was Gino from Mario RPG. It's not going to be though. It's not going to be Sora. I don't know. I say it's not gonna be Sora, but I also never thought it was gonna be Minecraft Steve, and that happened finally. So we'll see.
All right. We still got a lot of questions to podcast producers. We might have to like trim this stuff down in the future. I might have to figure something else out. You know what? I'll ask the podcast producers what they think, and we'll figure something out. But
Yeah.
let's get through these ones for now. So from Canoodle, hello Jeff and Mike, trending gamer Minotti. Do you think we see the new project from EA Motive at EA Play Live this year? And wink 2 times if it's a new Dead Space. Thanks for your work as always. I'm gonna blink as many times as I want. I'm just not. We're not gonna say what this game is.
I blinked twice naturally, and I started blinking more because I was panicking that people were going to interpret that.
Yeah, we're just not gonna say what it is. I think what was the game that we got asked about earlier? You said it's not that. I think
it's not Mirror's Edge, so I said that much for them.
Yeah, but the reason it's not.
Maybe I should have even said that. Maybe you're mad at me.
No, no, I'm not. I'm saying it's not, the reason it's not Mirror's Edge is because Mirror's Edge is like sort of a real sore spot with the current leadership at EA. Mirror's Edge is a game. Mirror's Edge Catalyst was a game that like people said that they wanted, they made it, and then it didn't sell very well, and it cost a lot of money. And EA's like, well, why are we doing this? Why are we listening? Let's just make the games that we know make money. And so we're gonna like work on free to play games like Apex Legends, and it's going pretty fine for them now. So that franchise is in a sore spot with them, and so it's not going to be that. Anything else though? I don't know. And then do I think we'll see it? No, I don't think we'll see it yet. Go ahead.
Humdrum Dog is kind of similar. 0211 just asking us about the Coalition new project, asking if it's a new IP or if it's Jet Force Gemini. And once again, I very much don't think it's Jet Force Gemini.
Yeah.
In fact, I know it's not. It's not Jet Force Gemini.
It's not Jet Force Gemini. I think it is a new IP, I think. It's, maybe they'll slap something else on it, but again, this is a chance for them to experiment, and that's kind of where they're going with it. Oh, okay, hang on, I got to yell at the kid. Hey, don't hit your sister in the head.
Keep doing that. That's good. Toughen them up.
All right. Okay, I answered this one. I answered this one from Miss Jeff about going to the gas station. Funny thing about that is I always go to get gas for my wife's car because I work at home and I use it as an excuse to get out of the house. So she doesn't. I don't think she's been to a gas station in literally years. All right. This is another one from Canoodle. Hello, Mike and Jeff. It's less than a month until E3. Microsoft seems pretty quiet about Hellblade 2. The new smaller Bethesda studios, Roundhouse and Alpha Dog, and the Starfield and the Starfield release. Any new information about that? Good show as always. So we touched on Hellblade 2 and Starfield. But I don't know. I think the new smaller Bethesda studios will continue to be quiet for quite some time. So Roundhouse, and Alpha Dog, which I think was a pretty new acquisition. But yeah, I think we probably won't hear about them for quite some time.
Hey, from Nick Taylor here just now. How do you all feel about the last 2 PlayStation 5 games being 1080p, and how does that go along with the 8K marketing? Is that true? I don't know.
I think Returnal was 1080p. I will say that I did not notice while playing, and when someone told me, I went, oh, because I see what it looks like. It still looks great. And
we both agree that 8K marketing is stupid. So
yeah,
I don't even know if anybody even bought into it. I think they already dropped, slowed down on the whole 8K thing because I think they know it's stupid.
It's on the box, and that's it now. It's just on the box, and it's on both boxes.
But
to be fair,
if you're saying, does it matter that Returnal was 1080p? No, I don't think anybody was really mad about that.
I mean, you got to look. I mean, go back and look at some of my tweets about this stuff. I think 4K is a bit of a marketing scam. I think 1080p is just fine in most cases, especially with good upscaling. I don't. Yeah. Not everyone agrees.
When it's my computer, I can tell. We'll talk about it later. I started playing Returnal. If you told me that wasn't 4K, I don't know if I would have known. Paul Newhouse, any info on Silksong? No. Devious, do you guys think Coalition's new game might be an old demo that they were working on when they were Black Tusk and showed the CG trailer at E3?
So that was that old like spy thriller game from like 2013 or something like that. Someone was asking me about this, and I don't think so. I don't think so. I think they're going to do something new and different, and then probably not going to follow up on that.
Yeah. Fossil 007, what are the chances of us getting Zone of Enders 3? Not very good.
Yeah, not good at all. God, that is, it's Konami, right? Because it's a Kojima.
That's so that's right? Another Konami Kojima weird caught in the middle thing, except it's not Metal Gear.
Exactly.
Right? So which one do you think Konami cares more about?
Yeah, which is one that they can maybe license out for a movie. I guess a Zone of the Enders movie. I bet they have made an anime, but whatever. From Eric.
It's anime, whatever.
Yeah, whatever. We anime, whatever. That's the name of our new podcast.
Oh, well, good.
From Eric, does the Overwatch 2 stream on the 20th make the game mess list, or are you a hater? I honestly did not know this existed, so I will
Oh,
add
yeah,
it to
I
the
wrote
list.
about this.
Oh.
They're just they're going to talk about some of the PvP changes and new things in that game. I think it's part of it is a bit of a let's comfort people a little bit because people are antsy because we haven't seen much and their game director just left.
Yep.
And I think it's a chance for the new game director to kind of be a front and center a little bit. But I love Overwatch, by the way. I played a ton of Overwatch. I played like
I loved it too.
600 hours. I played a lot more than you did because
Yes, you
cooler
did.
than you.
Yeah, well, yeah,
And
of course, yeah.
Also, never played it with me because you never play video games
Yeah,
with me.
I mean,
But no, we are
I'm
not
glad you're leaving
Overwatch
next
haters
week, yeah.
here. Overwatch is actually one of my probably. I mean, it has to just statistically be one of my favorite games ever. I suppose I played so much of it, so
I'm just
we
going
will
to
be covering Overwatch 2. Maybe Jeff won't, but there's not going to be any big news there. We're going to just learn about the mechanics and some stuff. Of
I'll be covering.
We're not going to get a date.
Are you going to be here when this happens? This is on the 20th. Are you going to be out of town?
Yeah. What? No, I thought I was just banned from the next show, but also
yeah, when you're banned, from, I'm not going to let you work at GamesBeat next week. Are you going to be here for this, or because
no, I will not be here then. Yeah,
right,
so I guess you. Yeah, so and I don't want you watching it because you're a scrub, so
you
won't
know what?
even know.
Well, I'm going to send you invites to play games all next week. So if
I bet you're probably a bronze player who thinks Bastion's overpowered just because you don't know how to counter him. You absolute Jeff Scrub of a club.
I don't hear anything wrong in what you said there. So yeah, they really need to nerf him. All right, Eric has another question. There has been recent news to indicate. I'm sorry. There has been recent news to indicate Psychonauts 2, Crossfire X, and Phantasy Star Online 2 New Genesis are all individually almost wrapped up, but none have specific release dates. Although Phantasy Star Online 2 is said to be in June. Do you see any or all of these actually shadow dropping at E3? No way they do all three, could they?
They could.
They could, but I am doubtful that any of them will be shadow dropped. I guess Phantasy Star Online 2 is an online game, and maybe that one gets shadow dropped. But more than likely, it's going to be like, oh, it's coming out, next week or something like that. But
yeah, you would think they would want to do some marketing for Psychonauts 2, right? But
yeah, I mean, it'll be at E3, and it's probably coming out this summer. But
they just released Psychonauts 1 on Game Pass, so that's like already kind of part of that marketing push, really, right?
Right.
Like,
yeah.
They want people to play Psychonauts 1 so they can get excited about 2.
Yeah, and I just think if of these three games, the one I think is most likely to get shadow dropped is Phantasy Star Online. Okay. From Schaefer, if I have an onion ring that's been sitting at the bottom of a takeout bag for several days, would it be considered an Elden Ring? Thank you, Schaefer, for that one. I appreciate that.
I do not thank Schaefer. I do not appreciate that.
Thank you so I appreciate fine humor, so thank you. All right, we got. You know what, Nick? You got a couple here. I highlighted one. I'm gonna read this one first, and we'll see if we have time for the other one. Let's see. How did
I've got a couple more super chats too?
Okay. How did the two of you first meet? What was your guys' first impression of one another?
Tinder,
yeah. And I was like, ooh, Harry. Yeah.
We first met in person at PAX East. Was that the first one? Because I remember the first event. The first preview event we ever went to together was for what was that? That spy RPG from the people,
Alpha Protocol.
Alpha Protocol, which I thought looked like garbage. Some people liked that game, but I never. But that was the first thing we did together. I don't know what I first thought of you. I think you gave me a Dragon Ball Z game later from some kind of a contest, so that made me angry.
Yeah, I think you. It was like a raffle of like Dan Shu had a bunch of stuff to give away.
We were working at BitMob at the time, which got bought by VentureBeat, and that's why we're at GamesBeat now. So we must have been working with each other online. There wasn't very much. We didn't have like a lot of meetings. We didn't really. There was no Slack channel, so we didn't really. Even when we were quote unquote co-workers at BitMob, there wasn't a lot of interaction there.
No, yeah, but I listened to his Exploding Barrel podcast for a very long time, so I was like, Mike is nice and personable, and then I met him in real life, and I'm like, wow, that's all an act. That's all a show.
I did not listen to your podcast.
Yeah.
You had a BitMob podcast.
Yeah, but there's a bit.
I listen to it sometimes.
Yeah.
You and Brett Bates and who Who else was on that?
And Derek Levine. Yeah, that was a long
That's
time
right,
ago.
Derek. Yeah,
I actually
man.
still have some of those episodes. I
Yeah,
should put
but
that on the feed sometime. Just to
I
mess
think
with
we
people.
both thought that we had. I think we both thought that we had similar tastes and personalities. We sensed the compatibility even
Yeah,
back then.
we were from Ohio, and we wanted to be games journalists. So
Yeah.
it worked out. All right, let's see here. This one's from Ray Mogos. Okay, happy Friday, fellas. Let's choose violence. You must buy one game, rent one game, and one game goes away
I
forever.
like this game.
Ocarina of Time, Metroid Prime, Resident Evil 4. Oh boy, this is a tough one.
Okay. Wow, that is tough. So it's buy, rent, destroy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm buying Metroid Prime.
Yeah, I'm buying Metroid Prime.
I love Metroid Prime.
Metroid Prime's one of the best games ever made, period.
Gosh.
Still to this day. You could go play that game right now, and it's one of the best games ever made, still, right now.
I am harsher on Ocarina of Time than maybe some people just because
Me
I
too.
like Wind Waker more.
I'm gonna feel bad though. I like destroying Ocarina of Time. I love that game when it came out. I just have cooled on it over time because I think the Zelda formula improved.
I think I still would. I like Resident Evil 4 a lot. It's my favorite Resident Evil game. I think I would still rather play Ocarina of Time than Resident Evil 4. I think it's certainly been long since I played 4. I feel I don't know if I can live with myself if I just send Ocarina of Time, one of the most important video games ever, to oblivion. Resident Evil 4, also a very important game. So I'm gonna run Ocarina of Time. I'm going to send Resident Evil 4 to hell, I guess. I feel very bad about that. Metroid Prime is super safe for me.
Yes, Metroid, man, it's no question Metroid Prime is buy for me. I'm gonna listen to my heart, and I am going to send Ocarina of Time to hell, which is just unbelievable.
Ocarina of Time.
Yeah, and I'm gonna rent Resident Evil 4. I think that's the right answer for me.
I can almost see it. Like it's close for me.
I mean, honestly, these are some of my favorite games of all time.
Metroid Prime's super safe, but it's a little harder there.
Ray, these are great questions. Keep them coming. I really like this game. All right, let me cross that one off. We got just a couple more. We'll get through them. Cool Francis 19. Do you feel confident about? I keep hitting my microphone now. Cool Francis 19. Do you feel confident about June 1st for Battlefield? Battlefield. So I said early May, and they did move it. It was going to be in early May. And there was reasons why they moved it, and I'm not going to get into that now. And the thing is they're moving it, and so I know when I say something's going to happen, they have to answer for it even more than I do. People do get mad at me when things move, and they're like, Jeff, you got it wrong or you lied or whatever. And I have to deal with that. And that's, the responsibility I take on. But I don't like the idea of they are in a situation where they might want to keep moving these things. They haven't set a date, and it's going to cause stress for them. And because it's not certain, I'm not confident about June 1st. I still think it probably will be, it's definitely going to be that week. It probably will be June 1st, but I don't know, and I'm going to keep going forward saying I don't know. Not confident is where I'm going to put that.
At that point, it's just a question of are they doing their own thing before E3? Is it just going to be at that? Because we know there's an EA Live or whatever they call it thing in July.
In July, right? Yeah,
right. And it's going to be there. Is it going to be revealed there? Or is it just we're going to see more of it there?
Right, exactly. So we'll see. From Gorilla, is BioShock still a thing? Yes. Yeah, it's still a thing. When will we see it? I have no idea. I don't know. All right. Any other super chats?
Yeah, let's get through some of these ones that came in here. Jesper, no regard, says, got $60 to burn on the Series X tonight. Do I buy Resident Evil Village or Mass Effect? I mean, gosh, it's like I bet you already know, right? Because it just depends on so many things. You want like some new latest and greatest, really pretty looking game that's probably only going to take you 10 hours to beat, though. Resident Evil Village. If you're like really value oriented, Mass Effect is 3, longish RPGs, but they are older games. They've been buffed up a bit, but it's not going to look as good as Resident Evil Village. And also, like, what do you like more? Do you like RPGs or do you like survival horror? Right?
Yeah, I think that's right. It's a tough one, but yeah, I agree with what Mike said.
Nick Taylor, do you think Naughty Dog's new IP could be a Star Wars? Man, I don't know if Naughty Dog wants to invest. Naughty Dog wouldn't invest in something they can't own because they know they're an IP, right? So they can make something that they can then sell for TV shows and movies and make sequels off of. Like, what they don't want to do Star Wars.
Yeah. Keep going. Yeah.
Donji Gaming, Dragon Quest 30th and Xbox teasing. Are they connected? So we have some Dragon Quest stuff on Xbox recently. I don't think no. There's no way that these are that connected. Like maybe the game's coming to Xbox and Microsoft could talk about that,
Yeah, I
but
think
it's
that's
not. It's
probably the
not like
case.
at this event, this very Japanese centric event, they're going to be talking about Xbox a lot.
That's right. I do. I mean, maybe if the Game Pass deal is there, maybe they bring it up there. But honestly, if even the Game Pass deal does happen, I still would expect it to happen at the Xbox event. We'll talk about it there and not at this Dragon Quest thing because the audience is just not going to care that much. Yeah.
Power Man 4K. Any advice for would-be game journalists? It's hard. So our entry was an unpaid internship, which it's not really a thing anymore, which is good for the most part, but it is bad because you could find those in a way that I think is easier now than it is to find paid internships. There just aren't that many of them. It's hard to find entry level gaming journalist jobs these days, it feels like. And there's a lot of people who are getting laid off. So then when these new positions come up, guess what? You're going to compete against a pool of people who have already been, working at an established site for 5 years. I don't want to say don't do it. I always thought that would be a hard thing for me to do. You got to look hard for opportunities. Aside from that, write a lot. You want to be writing every day if you can, even if you're gonna just start a blog that no one's gonna read. It's just good for you to be writing and to learn. And once you start getting edited, you have to develop at least a bit of a thick skin. That was the hardest part for me because I know it's hard to imagine. I'm a bit of a softie. I didn't have much of a thick skin, and for a while I took edits personally and stuff like that. You have to get over that a bit. You have to be good.
Yeah.
You have to realize that when people want you to change your writing, it doesn't mean that you're a failure and that you're bad at everything you do.
Yeah. I'll just real quick on this. I would just say, just go. There are a lot of small sites. If it comes down to if it comes down to it, and they don't even want you to come write for them for free, which a lot of people say don't write from the free. Don't write for free for a site that is making money. But if a site is very small and it's just a bunch of volunteers, that's what we did. Me and Mike both did that, and it worked for us. And as long as if someone's making a lot of money off the site, you should definitely be asking for money. But if you want to go volunteer and get some experience, get some bylines, see if you even like it, see if the people you're working with make you feel good, and you enjoy being among them, and you could see this being your career, then keep pursuing it. And if it comes down to it, start your own blog and just start writing your own bylines, or start a YouTube channel and do some voiceover coverage of the news, and try to develop your own voice and stuff, and then also look around for people who are in the same situation as you and are going in the same direction, and become friends with them, and try to build your own new clique. And as those people start advancing, when they look back for the next person to bring forward, they might look to you, and that's definitely what happened, I think, with both me and Mike, with Brett Bates, on that podcast. He was the one that brought me into Bitmob, and so yeah, I would say just look around for people in the same situation as you. It's the best thing you can do, really.
Tamaz,
Yeah, go ahead.
Kafka came in with one real quick while we were talking. Heard the new Super Mario Party targets portable mode. Thoughts? Man, I almost feel like about that the same way I do with Mario Kart 9. Are we really getting a new Mario Party for Switch? I mean, maybe. So I guess that's not answer your question. You heard target portable mode. That'd be fine. Wants to target portable mode.
Yeah.
I suppose. I
Yeah,
don't know if is it gonna be like a pass kind of pass the Switch around kind of a party game? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, new Super Mario. Okay, yeah, I don't know. I just don't have many thoughts about this because I usually just skip the Super Mario Party games because they're not for me because they haven't been online. But yeah, I don't
have
know.
any friends.
Yeah,
the few friends you have, like me, you refuse to play games.
I refuse to play
so.
games with them. Yeah, definitely, absolutely. Just a thought disgusts me. I want to get this one from Benji because I did miss it. Let's see here. Happy Friday to Mike. Didn't blast me on Twitter, Minotti, and a not so happy Friday to Jeff. Blasted me on Twitter out of nowhere, Grubb. For reference,
what'd you blast him for?
He said something in the Discord and it made me laugh, but I had to screenshot it and put it on Twitter, and I definitely blasted him. But I thought people would take it as a good joke. I can't remember the details of what it was right now. Benji, maybe you can send it in chat or put it in the Discord or something. How much of the Game Pass model do you think is actually influencing future project game design? For example, do you think game devs are making whatever they want that happens to also be on Game Pass? Or do you think Xbox is suggesting or even forcing devs into a Game Pass friendly game that is less of a one and done and more of a game that you can go back to every couple of months for new content? Thank you, Mike, as always. Have a great weekend, Mike.
Yeah, I don't know if it's that influential. I think maybe some of them are keeping in the back of their minds like a safety net, right? Like we saw with that shooty game that came out a bit ago that probably made more money because it got to be on Game Pass than it ever would have if it was only just some game that came out. What was that called again? The one
Oh,
people were excited about for a week and then no one talked about it anymore, and then it
wait,
had a bunch of problems.
Bleeding Edge.
No, no, more recently than that. You know, the shooting. It wasn't a game of service, but it kind of was a
Oh,
game of
Outriders.
service.
Outriders.
Outriders. Yeah, that one. That one. So yeah, and maybe Microsoft themselves are feeling better about being a bit more expert. We already seen that, right? Like they made a Battle Toads game that they probably would not have made if they didn't know they could put it on Game Pass, right? So there's a bit of that. I don't know, like third parties, if they're really thinking about what can we do that's going to be really good for Game Pass.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that for the most part, Microsoft is pretty hands off about this stuff. I think for the most part that Microsoft wants developers to be to maintain their culture and feel like different studios, and they think that's going to get them a lot of different kinds of games, which in the end benefits Game Pass. I think there's some issues with that, but for the most part, I don't think anyone's being forced to make anything that's Game Pass friendly. At least not yet. Maybe that'll happen down the line. I imagine that what will happen is Microsoft gets a bunch of data and says, this is what works. Maybe we should do more of that, and we'll be more likely to fund you if you do that. But that's not happening quite yet. Real quick, the reason I blasted Benji was because he said when he was looking at an apartment, he thought all the phone jacks were Ethernet ports. And I was feeling like a million years old because of these children that don't know what a phone jack is. These goddamn
what would they need it
Zoomers.
for? What would they need it for?
Yeah, no, absolutely. But I was just like, oh no.
Do you think they know about answering machines? Like actual answering machines?
They've had to see movies, right? I guess maybe they don't even watch old movies. I don't know.
It was right next to the rotary phone.
Yeah,
was
always,
the answering machine.
Yeah. All right. I think that does it. You know what? No, this one's from Low Rule. What's your thoughts on these Donkey Kong rumors? Any validity to them?
Yeah, I did want to bring this up because the rumor is that the Mario Odyssey people are making a new Donkey Kong game. One person said it's like going to be a 2D Donkey Kong Country. Basically, another person said it's not. It's going to be 3D. I mean, I don't know how true it is. If it was another 2D Donkey Kong game from the Mario Odyssey people, I would find that disappointing. I kind of talked about this on Twitter. I think Nintendo has by far been their least interesting when they've been making 2D games recently. Like, of their worst Switch stuff has been like Yoshi's Crafted World, Kirby All Stars, whatever that was called, or Star Allies. That's it. Kirby Star Allies. And like the remember Hey Pikmin for 3DS was like one of the last big Pikmin or last 3DS games. No one liked that. And New Super Mario Brothers, obviously bored of that. The one that people did like the most was Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze, and I'm kind of cooler on that than most people.
Oh my God.
That's funny.
It's hilarious, Mike. Yes.
Yeah. So like, if the Mario Odyssey team, which is coming off of making one of the best games ever, was just going to make another 2D Donkey Kong game, I'd be disappointed. Oh, that is basically the team that made Jungle Beat, right? Because the Jungle Beat team became the Odyssey team, which I assume has been the Mario team since then. But they're not going to make like Jungle Beat 2. So if it was a 3D Donkey Kong game, I think that would be interesting. I think that could
that'd be wild.
I'd like to see them try that again. Obviously not think about it as Donkey Kong 64 2, but just
Jesus God, no.
Yeah, but it frustrates me that as good as those 3D Mario games are, they haven't tried with any of their other 2D properties lately. They haven't tried like a 3D Yoshi game, a 3D Kirby game, 3D Donkey Kong, 3D Wario, 3D Waluigi. We had that one 3D Wario game on GameCube that no one even remembers.
Yes, yeah.
So it bothers me immensely that they aren't more ambitious. Instead, we get these 2D games with like bland visuals of just 3D renders running on a 2D plane, and I'm sick of it. I'm tired of it. So maybe do something really cool with 2D, but I don't trust them to. I think the indies have 2D covered very well already. I mean, look, I would just want this team to make Super Mario Odyssey 2, to be completely honest. So, and I don't know if that's going to happen. What do you think, Jeff?
I generally agree. I think that the 2D games are. I think Nintendo knows this, that 2D is now officially less uh, like widely appealing than 3D. And for a while, that wasn't true. They thought we can put out 2D games and they'll sell better than the 3D games because 2D is easier, so it appeals to more older people. And now the older people have all died, and the younger people grew up on 3D, and so and everyone loves the 3D games now. I think we're seeing this with the way Odyssey is selling.
Mhm.
It
Yeah, because
continue
it
to
used to be
sell.
that like New Super Mario Brothers was selling better than Mario Galaxy, right? Like, that
Exactly.
was a thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you
Absolutely.
could
Yeah.
see it, but
Right, but so I think
Switch.
so I think that maybe they realize it's time to try 3D with these other franchises again to maybe make them or to keep them relevant going forward. Like you got to keep the like you do have these characters
Right.
and they are relevant to a certain degree just because of their history. At a certain point, you have to like pay the toll though to keep them relevant.
Are they
And
really going to make another mediocre 2D Yoshi game?
right,
Like Kirby, like I guess they will, but man, how and I look the 3DS Kirby games are actually pretty great, but do we really need another 2D Kirby game on the
and
Switch?
and agree that you're right that like the indies are doing it in a more interesting way. I think your point, and you might I was reading some
Yeah.
other stuff when you were going off there, but I think you might have mentioned like Metroid, the Metroid Samus
I,
Returns
I talked about this on
on
well, Metro,
Twitter.
Samus Returns is a pretty big like that was it was good, but it was like the 3D renders running around a 2D plane, and even we do want that new 2D Metroid game, but I always tell myself like there's no way that's going to be better than Hollow Knight.
Right,
Like I just don't see it happening. I don't
right,
want to say like, well, what's the point? A good 2D Metroid game that's still exciting, but I think Nintendo can do more than that. We see how crazy good their stuff can be, and I just don't know if the next 2D Metroid game is going to be that, or if it's just going to be like Samus Returns again, which was neat and I liked playing it, but we all kind of moved on.
Mike. What have you been playing? You said Returnal. Tell me about it.
Yeah, I'm playing Returnal. I thought it'd be funny if I loved it, and I can call you an idiot, but I think I'm agreeing with you for a large part. And I've only done a couple runs so far, but I think the things that bothered you the most are bothering me. It's not very clear how I'm getting stronger or what some of these things are even doing. I don't like how many negative effects there are. Like Hades had a little bit of that with like you can go to like Death's place or whatever, and you got like the negative effect for a little bit, and then
Yeah,
once you got through it, you got the benefit. Here, there's just like a ton of things that are like you lose health when you pick up items now. Here's a bug on your arm, and you're gonna lose health when you go through a door. And I don't know. I'm finding that stuff kind of annoying. Looks really nice though, and I love that it is very Metroid Prime-ish in its aesthetic.
yeah,
Uh, and I'm actually very happy that this is the first game I played in a while that's doing cool DualShock stuff because I do like the DualShock controller. I like the adaptive triggers. I like the haptic feedback, and this is doing all that very well. So that's nice about it. But when I think about what I almost hate saying these words, 3 out of 5. It's like trauma. Like a 3 out of 5 to me is maybe a game that this is good. Would I be playing this if I didn't have to, and I don't have to? Maybe not. Like maybe I'm not gonna be playing a lot more of Returnal still. So that's
yeah.
where I am on it. I should play more. We'll see.
Yeah, I would say if you have questions, text me because that learning curve is there, but it's and it's I guess it was interesting in that Dark Souls sort of way where like the game is going to just kind of not tell you anything and you have to figure it out over time.
Yeah.
And I think part of that is like, oh, we're going to be mysterious and it's going to make you want to keep learning, but a lot of it is I was just doing things wrong for a bunch of runs and not realizing there is a right way to be playing. There is a right way to like look for the right stuff and like should I move on or should I not? Like you should move on if you if you found enough resin to get enough health and if you found enough stuff to beef up your defense and if you find a weapon you like and you should be looking for that stuff in the first level as you respawn in and then if you get it then you can jump to the next level after that and start skipping ahead and when there is like a right way to play like that maybe they shouldn't rely on the mysterious stuff so much. It should be like you discovering all kinds of interesting ways to play, and that's why you're mysterious because you want people to like to find their own path. And I think that doesn't work quite as good in this game. It's still mechanics, the shooting, all that stuff, still very good though.
Yeah. So let's not talk about Returnal too much because I think like after a while, like Sony sends
Yeah,
agents
there's
after us.
yes, and ninjas, or just not invite us to places. So yeah,
Oh no, I was mad that we weren't invited to the Ratchet and Clay preview, but I talked to Sony. We're good.
all right.
I get it.
They Sony sent me a TV to review, and when my baby was born, they sent me a onesie that I still love, and it's just like a PlayStation controller, and it says something like "Born to Play" or something on it.
It says "Born to Play" until you stab us in the back
Yeah, yeah.
with your Returnal review of
they're
4
like,
years from now.
we We put clothes on your baby, and this is how you
They
do us, Jeff?
clothed your baby,
They
your
clothed your child.
child, and you
Uh,
sabotaged the Metacritic. You
I,
piece of human garbage.
I've been playing Mass Effect Legendary Edition. I just started it. Not a lot to say other than I think it looks fine. I thought it was going to look way worse. And I think it definitely looks dated. It looks old, but it's not bothering me at all. And this is Mass Effect 1
I like
specifically.
old games.
Yeah, maybe that's
Hence
what it
the
is.
Ridge
Maybe,
Racer Type. I think Ridge Racer Type 4 is the best looking racing game ever, and it's a PlayStation 1 as
yeah.
fuck game.
Yeah, the things that are bad are like, the animation's a bit stiff, but honestly, I'm like, it's almost more fluid than it was in Anthem. Like Anthem had no animation. So what are we really talking about here? I guess obviously by modern standards, it does look older in those, and like the face capture is non-existent. They weren't capturing faces the way they capture faces now. And so you go from a game like Resident Evil 8 to this, and it's gonna feel like, oh wow, that person just has a dead face. But I still overall, I still think it looks pretty good. They did a pretty good job, and the way it's playing so far, it feels relatively modern. So
Yeah, because I almost wish I remember how Mass Effect 1 felt to me more, because I know that's the one that has the biggest differences, and so that would be interesting. Have you gotten to the Citadel yet? Because I remember that was the big wow moment in Mass Effect 1, was how big and cool that place was to explore.
yeah, I just got to that point, and that's about how much I played through Mass Effect 1 when the Xbox Series X came out, and I was testing like the auto HDR, and so it's a good point of comparison, and I think that actually still looked pretty good even like without the update, but they did spruce it up, and it does look a little bit better, and I think honestly it's still impressive. I still like the way the Citadel looks. You're still going to be meeting a lot of characters that don't animate in a very lively way, but still, I think if you're looking beyond the characters, everywhere else, the environments are pretty good. And yeah, I really do still just enjoy spending time on the Citadel. The next Mass Effect game should just be a Citadel cop RPG. You're on CSEC.
Yeah, with Garrus and
Garrus, yes, a detective story. Yeah, that's what they should do, but probably not going to do that. But yeah, that's still the dream because the place, hanging out in that place, is still very cool. I'm gonna play these games though. I'm into this right now.
Yeah,
I'm gonna play
once
it.
I'm back from my banishment, I'm going to start them, and I'm going to play as
If
Femshep this time.
if you're back from your
If you allow
banishment,
me back.
yeah.
Yeah, man, this is going to be a big hit, huh? They're going to sell a lot of these.
I think so. Yeah, I think people.
People
It's
like
reviewing
Mass
well,
Effect.
right? It's reviewing
Yeah.
well.
Just from it's I always forget sometimes. Because me and you, we like Mass Effect. We're not crazy about it, but
Yes,
like
that's right.
people like Mass Effect the way that I like, Disney.
And the way I like Star Wars, yeah.
Or like I like Star Trek, right? Like people love Mass Effect, which makes it all the more crazy how they just completely dropped the ball with that franchise for a long time there, and they're only now realizing, oh yes, we should make money off of that.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
yeah, I think this is going to do very well as far as
it's going to be
as
a
far as,
very
like, remaster compilations go. This is going to do very well.
yeah. I think it's going to be a very strong launch pad for the next Mass Effect game, which will come out years and years from now because they have to finish Dragon Age 4 first. But I mean, this is going to do. I think it's going to do nothing but mostly build up goodwill for the franchise. There will be some talk about the first one looking old, but it's an old game. Oh well, and I think for the most part,
I think people will be fine with that.
people are going to play through it and be like, "Wow, that was fun." And then Mass Effect 2 is still going to blow people away. I think that game is still going to relatively hold up pretty well.
Hey, RDX Son of a Fed just said, "Quick resume, officially quicker resume." Why is it quicker? What happened?
They made some updates to it. We should have put this in news, but the updates I think do make it quicker. But also I think they put that little menu so now you see what is saved in your quick resume and you can like adjust stuff. So like if you want to save one and not have it drop off the list, you can put it higher and stuff like that. I think they did that. I haven't looked actually, but I should check that out. So
yeah. All right, Jeff, we've been here a while. I'm getting hungry.
yeah, me too. I got some kids that have been whining at me for a little bit. So let's get out of here. I'm gonna hit the button. Let's do the outros real quick. Mike, you go first.
Yeah.
Where can people find you?
Well, you can find me on Twitter at Tolkoto, TOLKOTO. You can also find me at 90s Disney, my 90s Disney podcast. So check that one out. And yeah, and I'm always writing on GamesBeat.
And I'm Jeff Grubb on Twitter. I am Jeff Grubb on Twitch and Jeffrey Grubb on YouTube, youtube.com/Jeffrey Grubb if you're listening to the audio version of this. We do stream this show every Friday. Come hang out with us. There was a lot of people hanging out this time. We had a good time with everybody. And then the Discord. Join the Discord. It's probably the best place to like really get at me right now because we've got a good community. It's cool to hang out with those people. We're all talking all throughout the week about games and whatever else is happening. And I am not as annoying on there as I am on Twitter. Twitter, I do like this personality where I'm just like shooting off my ADHD out into a void, and I don't think about it too much.
I don't think your Twitter is your Twitter that bad. I thought you're fine.
You're used to me. You got to keep in mind,
you're not charming and funny and clever like I am, but
yeah, of course
you
not.
do your best.
But on Discord, I shut up most of the time, and I'm just like I like answer some questions, and it's just a cool, chill place to hang out. So come hang out with us there.
Yeah.
All right, Mike. Yeah, we got to keep talking till the music does the crescendo.
RDX son of a fat. Quick resume is twice as fast now. He says. Thank you for your super chats.
Wow. Okay, I didn't know. I should like look into that more closely. But quick resume still a great feature. Still very good. Yeah, Mike. Oh, you know what? While we are waiting for this, again, who has more body hair, or no, who has more hair, Mike's body or Jeff's head? And this is from Nick Turbo.
Without comment.
What do y'all think? Yeah, people in the audio version can't hear this or can't see this, but
here, look at my shoulder, my goddamn shoulder.
And
a knuckle. Here's a knuckle.
And listen, I do have that thick Scottish head of hair, but you know,
I got the Italian body hair, baby. Yeah. I got those real curly locks, and they go all the way down.
Well, great! I cannot wait for this music to play us off now.
That was a Deep Space Nine reference. I don't know if anybody.
It's okay. Say goodbye to everybody. Bye.
Sounded probably more.